What's up, my beautiful people? Hope you're having a tremendous day. Exile451 here with yet another daily dose of Reddit happy. Going back to r/AskReddit today, so let's get to it. Alright, well you guys seemed to like this one last time, so I'm gonna dive back into this question today for some more funny stories. The question was, Reddit, what's the funniest thing that a random stranger said to you that made you die laughing inside? I was in the drive-thru of a Wendy's one time. An employee exited the building with his headphones on and was singing "Who Let the Dogs Out" at the top of his lungs. He saw me, stopped singing, and started walking away. A few seconds later, he came up to my window and said, "Yes, that is what I'm listening to." Then he walked away. I laughed so hard at the whole situation. I must have been about 10 or 11. I sat down on a bench next to an old guy to sort my shoe out. I took my shoe off and he just turns to me and says, "Are they golfing socks?" I look at him with a completely blank look on my face thinking, what? As I looked away, he just said, "There's a hole in one." Even as a grandpa, still bust out the dad jokes. At a festival and sitting around the campfire when a very intoxicated man kept saying, "I need to borrow your fireplace." He wouldn't let it go despite being right by the fire. Turns out, he needed a lighter for a cigarette and was so drunk that he forgot what it was called. My laughter was not internal. I died laughing right in front of him. I can't say I blame you. I once was canoeing with my fiance for the first time, and we were having a bit of trouble at first getting a rhythm going, so we were along the edge of the water hitting the canal. This random couple was walking along the wall, and he said to his wife while pointing at us, "Ah, canoeing. The true test of love." My fiance and I bursted into laughter for 20 minutes and then finally got our rhythm together. Hey, that can be tough. Riding the public bus in Vegas about 13 years ago. I'm sitting kind of in the middle. There's this guy sitting kind of in the front having an extremely animated conversation with another guy next to him. The other guy looks like he's barely acknowledging what the animated guy is saying. We get to a stop and animated talker guy gets up, but other guy doesn't. It was then that I realized they weren't together, and that this dude was just talking in a semi-crazy way to some random dude on the bus. But animated talker doesn't want to get off. He wants the other guy to acknowledge that he was right about something. The other guy is just nodding and trying to get on with his life, but this lunatic just keeps yammering away. There gets to be some audible grumbling from the other riders because this dude is now holding up the bus. He finally goes to get off. Dude makes it almost to the sidewalk when he does an about face, gets back on the bus, and yells out, "And another thing!" At that second, nearly everyone on the bus yelled at the guy to GTFO. He obviously wasn't expecting it, as he kind of recoiled and skittered away. The guy does kind of this awkward half-run thing directly into a psychiatrist's office. It was at this moment that an older gruff guy who was sitting in the back and quietly reading a newspaper this entire time pipes up and says, in a thick East Coast sounding accent, "Going to see the psychiatrist, go freaking figure." Everyone on the bus, including myself, just busted out laughing. A few months ago, I was waiting at a road crossing with lots of other strangers, waiting for the man to turn green. This was a busy main road in my city. A little girl on the other side of the road did the almost accurate impression of the beep beep that the crossing makes so blind people know it's safe to cross, and the entire crowd of people just stepped into the road. I had seen her do it, so I stayed put, but I couldn't stop my laughing. My girlfriend was so confused. 50 adults pranked by one absolute genius 6-ish-year-old girl. It was magical. Well, with great mimicking comes great responsibility. To prank people. Didn't tell me straight, but only overheard. So this guy was talking to his phone, and I don't know why, but his face looked so serious, and he was almost red as a tomato. He was that angry. It was on speakerphone. And he and the one he's talking to were arguing over that green guy who owned a swamp and has a donkey friend. And the guy on his phone was saying its name was Shrek, and he was saying it was called a Smurf. They were screaming to each other, and people just ignored them and get confused. Of all the things to scream over the phone at one another, you have to do it about Shrek? Seriously? Oh my gosh. When I served, I had a table of about 20 Asian people. The head of the group shook my hand and introduced himself as Tony the Tiger. He tried to sound cool and tough, but all I could think of was the cereal mascot. Edit. Wow, 2.1 likes? I want to add that when I repeated back in a slightly skeptical voice, Tony the Tiger, he did a cat claw motion and said rawr like a tiger. That seems like the setup to a bad porno. I mean, my gosh, Tony the Tiger. A homeless guy told me I looked like my English bulldog and that now all the theories about people looking like their pets make sense. First day in basic training. All hell had broken loose. It was just screaming and confusion. I had an instructor come up to me with another new kid in tow and yells, "Trainee! Do you know where the latrine is? I want you to escort this trainee to the latrine so he can go sick himself in the proper facilities." I didn't know where they were, but figured I'd give it my best shot. So myself and this kid walk outside. I look over at him and he's greenish, kind of whimper crying and hunched over. We take 2 steps outside when he pops. Projectile vomit all over the ground, huge mess. I look up and see an even bigger, scarier instructor rounding the corner about 15 feet in front of us. He walks up, looks the kid in the eye, and with an icy hatred says, "What the freak did you just do to my ground? Do you really hate my ground so much you'd sick yourself on it? I want you to apologize to my ground and then clean yourself up." I nearly lost it. The kid whimpered out a "sorry, I puked on you" ground, and we were on our way. Oh man, boot camp just sounds like a miserable experience. Oh my gosh. My friend and I, both female, used to go to the Saturday market to buy fruit and veg. My friend is quite shy towards other people. I had just bought 2 huge watermelons and was carrying them, one in each arm. As a guy walked past us, he shouted, "You've got nice big melons!" Didn't say anything else, just kept walking. My friend was shocked and I almost peed myself laughing so much. I'm not sure if I should share this story or not, but back in April when Endgame was new, my wife, a good friend of ours, and I, we were all going out to the theater opening weekend to meet up with my sister and go see it before everyone leaked all the spoilers. And as we're walking there, it was the end of April, so it was finally warm outside and people were, driving with the windows down. And I forget what we were talking about, but I used the phrase 6 orgasms good. And, we just all kind of laughed about it and kept walking. This guy in this orange Mustang pulls a Yui, pulls up to the curb, and he's just like, "What was that about 6 orgasms?" And I'm just standing there stunned, like, what? And so I explained to him, I think I was talking about Infinity War when I said it, but I was so shocked that someone would actually pull the car around for something I said. Anyway, the double entendre there just kind of reminded me of that, so I figured I'd share. Not to me, but I was nearby. I was in a supermarket in the fruit and veg section. 2 women are arguing behind me. One says, "We should get this." The other responds, "No, we're getting this one. It's better, I should know." The first, sounding upset, says, "Yeah, but..." The other interrupts and says, "You know I was a chef. I worked at KFC." I had to go 2 aisles over so they didn't hear me howling with laughter. Yeah, cooking in a fast food kitchen does not make you a culinary expert. Hate to break it to you. Went to Chipotle after freshly shaving my head. The cashier started commenting, "Wow, what a day. Look at you with your shaved head. When did you do that?" Me, like 20 minutes ago. Him, "Wow, what a world we live in. You and your bald head." I felt like I was in a Whitest Kids You Know skit or something. So last week, I got into a police control. "Officer, good evening. Where are you coming from?" Me, "From a friend's place." "Officer, did you drink any alcohol?" Me, "No sir, officer." "Officer, did you consume any marijuana?" Me, "No, officer." "Officer, What a boring evening. Have a good ride. Laughed a while at this. I was in a school play and I played one of the support characters. I had no theater experience, but when the play began, I felt confident. I completely shucked it even after 20 plus hours of rehearsals and choreography, but I kinda just shrugged it off. Going to my car, I heard a group of parents talking to their kid also in the play. They asked who was the character I played. The kid said that he really didn't know me that much. The parents proceeded to comment on my performance, saying I looked like, and I quote, a retarded penguin trying to fly. Figure of speech meaning I did not belong there. I completely lost it and almost suffocated from laughter. I guess they heard me because they all looked at me and the kid said that I was him. They said they didn't mean to call me retarded and left. I tried to say it was okay, but I still couldn't breathe. First and last time ever doing theater. They didn't exactly say it to me, but I think it's relatable. I was in a Victoria's Secret with my girlfriend, and a guy, probably about in his 40s, walks in and says in the most confident, normal voice, I'm gonna buy a thong for my mother. We both tried not to laugh while he was right there, but it didn't work out too well. His wife, I'm assuming, cackled, so we decided it was safe to laugh anyways. Oh my gosh. He had to have been put up to that. I guarantee you, his wife put him up to that. I was crossing the street once and my sunglasses fell off my shirt directly to the floor. I just realized it happened after I got to the other side of the street and my mom pointed it out. The closest car was pretty far away, but I was still very anxious about it. Ran back to the middle of the street, tried to grab it, but I was so nervous it fell out of my hands 2 times before I finally got it and ran to the other side of the street again. The car finally reached us, the driver stops, rolls down the windows and says, "That's what I call a survival instinct," and drives away. I laughed so hard. Oh gosh, that just reminds me of this other story from a few weeks ago. Where my wife and I live is like right downtown, so we're pretty close to just about everything. And we were walking somewhere, and there were these 2, somewhere between about 11 to 13-year-old kids that were in front of us in a crosswalk. And one of them, who looks exactly like Dustin from Stranger Things, said something along the lines of, what if I get hit by a car, and then bolts out in front of this car that's about to go through the crosswalk. And then just stops. And his friend's like, dude, what are you doing? And there's a guy across the street who's watching this whole thing happen. And my wife and I are just like, holy crap, this car slams on its brakes. The driver's just like, what the frick? And the kid's just like, sorry. Laughing it off like it's all a big joke. And we get to the other side, and the guy that's watching this whole thing, I notice he's got an FBI badge on. And he just looks at us, he's like, what the crap was that? And we were just like, got us, your guess is as good as mine. Oh my. Kids, you don't run back in the street and be stupid. I was at Tim Hortons with my dog, and then this old man walked by and said to me, you're gonna be a dog one day. What? Not to me, but definitely memorable. Was waiting for the BART train, public transportation in the Bay Area, and some young, cocky-looking jerk was yelling at the booth attendant because he missed his train. First, the rant was about the schedule being off. Then, wait until my father hears about this. Then about his overall disappointment in the station. Then about you people, etc. The attendant pulls out a book and starts reading. The guy gets furious at this and demands her attention. She loudly retorts, when this conversation swings back to something germane to our situation, then I'll pay attention. He yells and stomps off, and I just stood there with love in my heart for that lady. I was in a full bathroom at a Cavs game using the urinal, and some guy walks up to use the urinal next to me. He then says, nice watch. I was actually wearing a watch, so I said thanks, followed by, wait, what? We shared a laugh, and that was it. I still think it's hilarious. I have a tattoo of a light bulb on my wrist. I was going to pay my food at a Wawa, and the kid at the counter sees it and goes, dang bro, that tattoo is lit. I don't know if he was trying to be funny or sincere, but that crap was the funniest thing I've ever heard. Was at a McDonald's drive-thru and ordered a McDouble and a large Dr. Pepper. The cashier read my order back and said, "Okay, 1 McDouble and a large Dr. Pooper." I was dying laughing and tried to keep a straight face when I pulled up. When she opened the window, she said, "Hey, did you hear me say Dr. Pooper?" And I just started laughing immediately. Oh, might have been her first day. Random kid sat next to me and pointed to his instrument case, saying, "I've got the bomb. You got the money?" I shook my head, confused and unable to think of anything witty. He ran off whispering, "Wrong person." This was in school. Oh, I really hope that was way back in the day when you could get away with a joke like that, because otherwise that kid would have been expelled so fast. Visiting Prague with a buddy. Bar hopping. We're talking to 2 Brazilian guys, one about as drunk as us, the other is in the cat about to vomit on your carpet position, kneeling in the middle of the street. He starts head bobbing, and out of nowhere his friend screams, "Squirtle, use your water gun!" in a thick Brazilian accent. He proceeds, as if on command, to projectile vomit all over the place. Me and my friend were in stitches. Best comedic timing I've ever witnessed. I can just picture it. Buying beer at a convenience store. Cashier said, "Would you like your baggage to be physical or emotional?" So simple, yet so perfect. That was r/AskReddit, and if you want more funny or uplifting AskReddit content, then go ahead and check out the playlist link in the description below. Now you guys go out there, have a great day. I will see you all tomorrow. Until then, I'm Exile451. Stay beautiful, people.